Alright guys, welcome to another beer review. If you're hearing that noise behind me, it's not my lycra pants rubbing against each other. It's actually some cladding, well not cladding, insulation for the shed. We ordered way too much, so there's lots of polystyrene sounds at the moment. So yeah, beer review time. Today we're going over to Newbarns, out of Scotland, Edinburgh to be precise, and this is a can of the Radler Shandy, 2% ABV. So it's a Shandy Radler brewed with Sicilian lemon, Seville orange, now then, and blood orange. Doesn't specify the ethnic identity of the orange, but doesn't that sound wonderful? And this weekend, well, this past week, we've basically been having what some absolute psychopaths would consider as perfect weather, aka temperatures of up to about 31 degrees, and it reminded me, here's the overly romanticising beer part for Paul PA Brew News, it took me back to when I was living in Germany, which, as someone with my skin tone, blonde hair, blue eyes, no, we're not going in that direction, the sun is my mortal enemy, and especially now that I'm considerably bigger than I was when I was living in Germany. Back in a time when I was in a wonderful, prosperous relationship, I was filling this t-shirt out much less, and yeah, I was lounging around. But like most good things in life, it all comes crashing down, and I'm not a bitter and twisted nihilist now because of it, obviously. But yeah, it genuinely, this weather has been reminding me of my time in Germany. And one of the things that I used to really enjoy on days like this, well, not so much days like this because it's a little bit cooler. I think we're potentially going to be having a bit of a thunderstorm, so there's a really nice breeze, although the gazebo's rubbing against the polystyrene behind me, making some absolutely awful sounds. But I swear to God, I'm not wearing latex or lycra, so it's actually quite distracting, that sound, but hey ho, it is what it is. But yeah, this temperature's been really reminding me and taking me back to being sat in a beer garden or out and about, and then popping into a supermarket, going to the fridge and getting myself a nice Radler. And it is a style that is terribly underdrunk by myself, as much as I like it, and I don't think it gets the respect that it actually deserves. So I'm not too sure if this is going to be more along the lines of like a British interpretation of a shandy or like a German Radler, but I'm very excited to try this because they've doing some fantastic beers, especially when it comes to lagers. And I think Don Zoco is now based where these guys are. So Reese has definitely literally gone up in the country to Scotland, and it's so noisy. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and someone's hammering as well. High quality content that people love to watch. So, Newbarns Radler Shandy, very excited to try this. Let's get it open and see what we get. I think Jake, not Jake, but Jake, aka Jake O'Beer, he's definitely drank it because he talked about it on the live stream, but I'm not sure if he's reviewed it. And his review would have been over by now and a lot more concise than what my review is going to be. And from what he said, a very enjoyable Radler. Now, of course, when you think of a German Radler. The one that sticks out is, of course, the Schufferhofer Grapefruit, which I'm not going to do a video comparing this to that. I was initially going to pick myself up a can of that and do a side-by-side, but that would be stupid because the Schufferhofer is a wheat beer based Radler, whereas this is just a straight up Radler, I suppose. In terms of how authentic it is, I'm not too sure, but the fact that it's actually used 3 of my favourite citrus fruits, then oh, now they're fucking drilling. I'm looking forward to this. So, water, barley, Sicilian lemon, Seville orange, blood orange, sugar, yeast and hops. 2% ABV. Nice looking can. And this is what the beer looks like in the glass. And yeah, it literally looks like cloudy lemonade. Nothing's getting through that at all. It's definitely more on the lemon side of things. Nice and pale. It's got a nice vibrancy to it. Spilt some on the bar, which is always a good sign. And when I sniff it, I'm probably going to dip my nose and get some on my nose. All the tropes people come to expect with a clueless drink of beer review. Of course, had to get suitable glassware, so getting out my Augustiner glass. But yeah, it looks really good, doesn't it? And I've been trying to generate head, but it's not working. When I first poured it, it was pretty much up to the rim of the glass, but it's dissipated really quickly. So yeah, this literally looks like freshly squeezed juice. So let's see what we get on the nose. The medley of citrus fruits in this is just absolutely mesmerisingly mouth-watering. I'm getting a little bit of that sweetness from the sugar. I know a lot of the German breweries who produce Radlers, as a bit of a side hustle, they produce their own sort of like lemonades and soft drinks as well. So a lot of them will mix their beers, or they'll brew a beer to mix with the lemonades that they produce. So I'd be interested to see what this is like with actual proper fruit in there. Now, whether they've used the rind, the flesh, the juice, pulp, I'm not too sure, but it does literally smell like you've got all 3 of those fruits and squeezed them into a glass with a little bit of a bright, bready maltiness coming through. But yeah, it's just an abundance of citrus, which is exactly what you want. It does exactly, in terms of appearance anyway, and aroma, what it says on the tin. So enough waffling, and let's get drinking. Prost. I know you said choose then. Cheers. And it's one of those beers that often come around where once you've taken that first sip, you ask yourself, why did I shoot a beer review outside when there are people doing work? But also, why didn't I buy more of this? Because I tell you what, they've absolutely nailed it. Even though there is sugar in there, it doesn't have that sweetness of like a traditionally brewed German Radler. Which one of the sort of sides to that, as much as I love a good German Radler, is if you have too much of it, they can get a bit sickly sweet. Just due to the fact that they've used sort of like a lemonade to blend with the beer. But this is just absolutely remarkable. It really, really is. It's got a soft, lemony flavour. Now, I'm not too sure if a Sicilian lemon is known for its slight sweetness compared to other lemons. The Seville orange, there is an oranginess there. The blood orange is completely evident. Which, by the way, how much of a pain in the arse is it to buy blood oranges in supermarkets? I think Waitrose sell them, and maybe Sainsbury's. But I live in Skelmersdale. We don't have posh, fancy places like that, even though we've got booths. Well, that's not really in Skem, it's in Burscough, just before Ormskirk. Because I love blood oranges. I love them. Just getting some blood oranges, making just freshly squeezed blood orange juice. But you're not really making a juice, are you? Just squeezing a blood orange until all the juice has left it from the flesh. You don't need to add anything to it, you don't need to dilute it, because sometimes freshly squeezed citrus fruits can be a little bit too acidic and a little bit too bitter, but blood orange is just, in the family of oranges, probably my favourite. And I would say, out of the 3 fruits that are in there, that's the one that you're probably getting the most out of. And another reason why I couldn't compare this to Schofferhofer is because that's a grapefruit based Radler, and it's just fucking dawned on me because I'm an idiot. I think I've become a little bit dumber since I've come back from Germany as well. But I like the fact that they haven't depended on putting grapefruit in there. Although I could imagine Newbarns would make an absolutely fantastic attempt at a Schofferhofer grapefruit. But yeah, one of the best, even though I know they do other styles, the Mosaic table beer is probably the best table beer that I've had in a long time. And some of their stouts, which I've not had yet, have been getting a lot of praise, especially that strong stout that they did. They're probably one of the best lager breweries in the UK, and you could completely see why one of the best lager breweries in England, with Don Zoco, has basically moved to Scotland with these guys. I don't think people truly understand how well our craft breweries here in the UK can produce lagers. That being said though, I don't think lagers have that reputation that they once had. It's just flavourless piss water, isn't it? I think in terms of like the craft lager scene, we're producing some absolutely fantastic ones, and there are whole breweries dedicated to the craft of making a good lager, because, and this is something that I've noticed when, not that I speak to brewers on a regular basis, I'm completely so detached from the actual beer scene, but from like reading interviews and hearing conversations, a lot of the time most brewers love a really good, well brewed lager. And tell you what, Radlers can be a bit hit and miss here in the UK. I will say that. I think the worst one that I had was the collaboration between Northern Monk and Queer Beer, or Queer Brewing, I should say. Just because that was like a lemon sour. It was nowhere near what a Radler should be. And I think if you're not brewing this style, and you haven't done so for years upon years, it will be a hard style to master. The lager style itself is a very intricate and time-consuming process, mainly due to the lagering process within. So to see Newbarns brew not just a tasty beer full of citrus fruit, a nice amount of sweetness, not too sweet, not overbearingly so by any stretch. I would happily get a mini keg of this, and it doesn't have to be a blazing hot day. It could be in the middle of winter. I think this, if you were to put this head to head with what's, I don't know what it is, but what would be considered the best German Radler, I think you'd be very surprised. I really do. Packed full of flavour for its ABV. Hate when people use that as an argument. Just because it's a low ABV beer doesn't mean it's going to be low on flavour. For a 2% Radler Shandy, I think it's got a really nice body. Gets a little bit sticky on the back end. So even for a light lager, it's got a nice body to it. It's satisfying. Suppose you could say it's almost like, and this isn't like by any means like a diss or anything like that, far from, because I love this beer, but it kind of reminds me as well of some of the different flavoured San Pellegrinos that you can get. And yes, I do like Tory lemonade. I can't do still water. It has to be carbonated. If you put some flavour in it, I'm a slut for carbonated water, essentially. And if my arsehole was big enough, I would happily stick this can up there. But anyway, that's a visual image that you, well, visual image, of course it is, because it's an image. But that's a visual that you don't want to have in your head, I'm pretty certain. It's a bit long-winded, this one, isn't it? So I'm ticking that box as well. And yeah, we're doing this again, which I've started to do in a few videos. Don't know why. It's my producer. I'm going to have drank this before I even get a thumbnail for the video. Not that my thumbnails have actually existed in the last few beer reviews. I don't know why my channel's gone the way it has. Don't know why my life's gone the way it has. That's another one, acting. Tick that box as well. Anyway, so if you've tried this, and let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. What's your favourite Radler? What's your favourite Shandy? Give me some recommendations, suggestions. It is definitely something that I want to drink a lot more of. And yeah, this is it's a fantastic example of both a Radler and a Shandy. I think they've got that authenticity nailed down to a T. And the lager itself that they've brewed for this is a really, I'm not going to say competently brewed, I'm going to say a masterfully brewed lager. And I think they've done an absolutely ridiculously good job with this. And it's probably my favourite Newbarns beer to date. So if you have tried it, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. What's your favourite Newbarns beers? And yeah, thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe. Und auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss. Get it up, you cunt.